Thank you for taking the time to watch this introduction video on how Sigma Estimates works with Autodesk Revit. It's not an educational video, but rather an introduction to give you an overview of how you can make Sigma work together with Revit. Let me start by mentioning that Sigma and Revit together has been used on some of the leading BIM projects for billion-dollar hospitals in Scandinavia. Sigma has played a role in data management and assembly coordination. Taking in quantities from Autodesk Revit, Bentley iModel, and IFC files, using that as a background for estimating, material lists, analysis, and quality assurance has proven Sigma to be the perfect 5D estimating software. The key to this is Sigma's object-oriented approach to estimating, combined with a plugin written for Revit. This enables linking objects in the Revit model with assemblies in Sigma's cost libraries and exporting all the structures, assemblies, and quantities to a Sigma project. Together with all the basic estimating features that Sigma provides, this gives an excellent solution for understanding and analyzing cost, duration, resources, and other relevant information in the project. It also serves as a base for generating purchase orders, material lists, project Gantt charts, and accounting information for the entire construction process. Sigma is used a lot without any BIM models, but today we'll start directly in Revit to show how a building model can be used for estimating. In Autodesk Revit, I've opened a project I'm working on. I can zoom in and navigate in my model and view properties on all of the building elements. Now let's select an element like this exterior wall. In Revit, you can inspect all the properties of the wall like height, length, fire rating, and much more. One property we like to set is the link to Sigma. To make it easy, we have a plugin in the add-ons section to inspect the properties. Let's locate the family properties, and here we'll find a Sigma link. Now we can click the dots, and we'll directly see the assemblies in our Sigma library. This makes it so easy to create assemblies in Sigma and connect to our model. Well, actually that's all it takes. You need to make sure all the objects in your model are connected. By doing this at a family level, you only have to do it once for each project type. Now we're ready to export to Sigma. We'll use the Export button, and we have a dialog for how we like the project to come into Sigma. This is all about grouping, filtering, and other tweaks, so let's just hit the Export button and see what happens. The plugin is now gathering information about all the objects and preparing it for Sigma, and now we can open Sigma and get an overview. Let's take a look at the cost breakdown structure. You can see that all the Revit objects are neatly organized, so it's easy to follow. In the Revit export, you may configure many other ways to organize your objects. When we look at the content page in Sigma, we can see the individual objects and their quantities. We can also see any property from Revit, which may be useful when you're estimating. Directly in Sigma, we can also show the model and highlight elements. Let's load the model. And now we can select an item like this foundation wall. See how the wall is highlighted in the model. We can also select the roof and see how it's highlighted. Now let's combine our Revit model with our Sigma assembly library. We select Update from Library and more or less just hit the Update button. Now the estimate has been enriched with activities, resources, prices, etc. In the Content pane, you can see prices everywhere. And remember that you can change anything and add your own components like equipment, additional labor, construction site, etc. If I click on the Resources page, you'll see the entire estimate split into categories like labor, materials, equipment. You can see distribution charts and do drill downs, all directly from the model input and from the assembly library. And speaking of analysis, we can go to the Insight page and see the project split into resources, activities, crews, suppliers, given that you label some of those in your assemblies in the project. One example of this regrouping into UN format or master format. Without any additional work, you can directly see how your project is split into these classifications, and you can even change the numbers if you want to adjust something. Sigma has features for working cost to sales prices, key figures, reports, and much more. But the purpose of this video was just to show how a Revit model may be the source of many structures and quantities in the future. Sigma may also connect to Bentley iModel, IFC, and CSV files for additional input. As a closing comment, let me show you how all the data may be transferred directly to Microsoft Project, where you can continue working with dependencies, durations, teams, cash flows, and much more. All of the applications are of course linked so you can make iterative processes during the project. We are dedicated to continue developing an easy to use but powerful estimating software to make sure you understand the cost and get all the benefits from the VDC process estimators carry out. Thank you for watching. You can always search YouTube for more videos on Sigma, and we'll be happy to help by answering any questions that you may have.